plane touches down in Mardin, Turkey. Alya Albora arrives from Canada with her 5-year-old son, Denise, and her lawyer, Isif, bringing the remains of her late husband, Boran Albora. She has crossed the world to fulfill her husband's final wish to be buried in his homeland. They were married for 7 years, yet Boran had long been estranged from his family even before he met her. Alya expects grief and reunion at the airport, but no family member comes to receive them. Instead, only the family's lawyer, Errol, and a trusted right hand, Kadir, are sent to represent them, meet her at the airport and formally receive her on their behalf. She also notices many men gathered at the airport to meet them. Errol, Albora's family lawyer, asks her to come with them to meet the family, but Alya hesitates and insists on seeing a family member first. She asks about Cihan Albora, Boran's younger brother. She is told she will soon meet him, as Cihan is nowhere in sight. At that very moment, Cihan races through deserted roads in pursuit of a man named Demir Baybars. Cihan believes Demir may be connected to his brother's death. Alya tries to call Cihan, the only contact her late husband has left behind. But Cihan refuses to talk over the phone as he is dealing with Demir at the moment, leaving Alya frustrated and uneasy. Rage burns inside Cihan, but without proof he cannot bring Demir to justice. He pressures Demir to confess, hoping guilt will break him. Demir denies everything and swears he had no part in Boran's death. With no evidence and no confession, Cihan has no choice but to let him walk away. Alya is also left with no choice and goes with Cihan's men. As they near the border, patrol guards stop them for inspection and demand to check the casket as well. Alya feels insulted by the request and asks for respect for the dead, but the guards remain firm. Cihan's men protest, clearly unwilling to let the casket be opened. Errol makes an urgent call to Cihan, his voice tight with concern. Alya loses patience and decides she will take her husband's body back instead. And then, Cihan arrives just in time. From a distance, Alya finally sees him for the first time. The tension eases as Cihan brings a senior police officer with him to negotiate, and the guards allow them to cross the border. Cihan then walks toward Alya and introduces himself. For the first time, she stands face to face with her late husband's brother. Their meeting is cold as Alya refuses to shake his hand, still resenting him for not coming to the airport himself. However, the unspoken words in this first meeting is quite legendary. For those who would want to spoil, leave your thoughts in the comments section. Cihan wastes no time and searches for his late brother's 5-year-old son. Alya quickly corrects him and tells him not to call her son Cihan. She calls the boy Denise and refuses to use the name Cihan. Cihan insists that his late brother has named the child after him, and he will honor that by calling the boy Cihan. Cihan and his younger brother Kaya grow emotional as they see the child for the first time. Cihan happily lifts Denise into his arms. Before the moment can grow more emotional, Alya quickly grabs Denise and ushers him back into the car. Cihan studies her and asks what she truly knows about Boran and his past. Growing impatient, Alya sarcastically answers only with what she knows about the man she loves, his habits, his likes, and his dislikes. As Cihan seems to get what he needed to know, he orders everyone to head home. Alya stops him and says they should go straight to the cemetery to proceed with the burial. She makes it clear they come only to bury Boran and will leave immediately after. Cihan tells her the family will mourn first and that their mother waits at home to see her son one last time. He declares the burial will take place the next day. Alya realizes he is not asking for her permission but commanding what the family wants, and she is expected to accept it. Upon reaching the Albora mansion in the town of Midyat, Alya steps out of the car and notices armed men stationed around the property. Cihan tells her to stay close, a warning she chooses to obey as she scans the people around them while they walk toward the mansion. Deniz receives a warm welcome from his aunt Nare, and Alya does as well. Sadakat, the grieving Albora matriarch, grows emotional as she meets her grandson for the very first time. Alya, however, meets the cold shoulder of her mother-in-law. Sadakat confronts her, implying that she was the one driving the car. She accuses Alya of having a hand in her husband's death. The weight of that accusation shatters her, and she can hardly believe what her mother-in-law has just insinuated. Sadakat stands over her deceased son with a heavy heart. After gazing at her eldest son's lifeless body, she declares that anyone responsible for his death must be punished. Alya, watching from above, seems taken aback by such a bold declaration. Their men draw their guns and fire shots into the air. Alya crouches down to the ground, pressing herself low in fear as the shots ring out. She has no understanding of the family's ways or what they are capable of, but from what she sees, she has no intention of keeping her son in the mansion near them. Determined not to stay at the Albora mansion, Alya accepts her lawyer Izzet's offer to get a room at the same hotel where he is staying. Alya makes her way out of the mansion, but Cihan stops her. She informs him they would rather stay at a hotel, but he firmly refuses to let them go. He insists they must remain in the mansion for their safety, leaving Alya confused and asking what danger she could possibly face there. Cihan continues to press her, asking what she knows about his late brother, hoping to uncover hidden knowledge. Her answers remain consistent, but his questions only deepen her irritation. She grows wary of the family, noticing armed men patrolling the mansion. She makes it clear she and her son will leave immediately after the burial and that Deniz will not be drawn close to them. Cihan tells her that he will not allow her to stay in a hotel with another man, especially since she is his late brother's wife, which she finds outrageous. But he insists they are not going anywhere and that they will remain in the mansion. As she attempts to leave, Cihan grabs her by the arm. He is just as persistent in explaining the danger, stepping a little too close and catching her off guard. In the heat of their argument, frustrated, Alya pushes him back with her hand, only for him to react instantly, catching her wrist before she can pull away. His grip is firm, unyielding. He reminds her that their place is not Canada, but Mardin, implying that she has to follow their customs. She goes tongue-tied, shaken by the force of his stare, intimidated by his authority yet caught in the dangerous tension simmering between them. Cihan, realizing he has overwhelmed her, gently lets go of her hand. He then calmly excuses himself, leaving her alone. Sadakat shamelessly blames Alya for the car crash that killed Boran, knowing she was the one driving that day. She suspects Alya is involved with Boran's enemies, or that she must have discovered who Boran truly was and is now after his wealth. Cihan defends Alya, explaining that she knows nothing about his brother's past life. But Sadakat remains convinced that Alya has ulterior motives, insisting that she is a very beautiful woman and that Boran must have truly fallen for her. She further assumes that Alya used her beauty to trap her son. Cihan can only shake his head at his mother's groundless suspicions. Alya's lawyer, Izzet, calls and shares a shocking piece of information about the Albora family. The reason Cihan could not come to Canada is because he has a travel ban. Apparently, Cihan's uncle, Ejmal, the brother of their late father, was caught smuggling illegal weapons at the border and is currently locked in jail. Terrified by the news, Alya becomes even more determined to take Deniz away from the Albora mansion. She confronts Cihan again, trying to convince him to let them leave, but he remains firm in his refusal. She bluntly throws it in his face that she will not let Deniz grow up around them, implying she has discovered that the family is involved in illegal business. This catches Cihan's attention, and he immediately begins questioning her about what she has uncovered. He tries to fish for information, wanting to know whether she has learned anything about Boran, about who he really was and whether she is now aware of his hidden past. Alya grows increasingly frustrated with his interrogative tone, but she tells him only what she knew. Sadakat intervenes, declaring that Deniz will not leave the mansion and will remain under their roof. She insists she will not repeat the mistake she made letting Boran go. She presses on relentlessly, demanding to know whether Alya is connected to the Baybars. Cihan attempts to step in, but Sadakat cuts him off, insisting that Alya must have ties to them. Stunned, Alya asks who the Baybars even are. Sadakat coldly explains that Boran had a deadly feud with the Baybars, her eyes fixed on Alya as if searching for a crack in her innocence. But Alya firmly denies it, insisting she does not even know who they are, her confusion turning into indignation under Sadakat's piercing scrutiny. To her dismay, Cihan sides with his mother, insisting that Deniz will stay and belongs to the Albora mansion. Sadakat will not back down, her suspicion unwavering, while Alya stands firm, refusing to surrender. During the burial, tension rises as the imprisoned Albora uncle, Ejmal, joins in, unleashing his anger on Cihan and the family, convinced they have betrayed him. Demir seizes the moment to approach Alya, introducing himself with a sly smile. When she realizes he is a Baybars, she understands he is tied to the chaos surrounding her husband's death. Demir tries to provoke her, but Nare quickly notices and calls for Cihan's help. Cihan rushes over, pushing Demir aside and pulling Alya to safety, while Kaya jumps in, gun raised, shouting for Demir to stay back. That evening, after the burial, Alya immediately begins plotting an escape from the mansion with Izzet's help. At the same time, Deniz wanders around the house and discovers a collection of guns displayed in a glass cabinet in Kaya's room. Fascinated by what he sees, he tries to open it, only to find it locked. Unable to open the cabinet, he spots another gun lying on the bedside. Alya, noticing their room is empty, frantically searches for him and freezes when she sees him returning with a gun in his hand. Heart pounding, she quickly slips it into her handbag, her mind racing with fear and the danger that surrounds them. Unfortunately, Cihan discovers her plan and sees her slipping away in clothing meant to blend in with the locals. Alya runs with Deniz, and with Izzet driving, they race off into the night. But Cihan and his men pursue them relentlessly, eventually catching up. They seize Deniz from her by force, and Alya screams, begging for her son back, but Cihan holds her at bay. Desperate, she pulls out a gun and points it at him, demanding that they bring Deniz back. Cihan tries to calm her and reaches for the weapon, but it suddenly fires, striking him in the side of his abdomen. Alya freezes, horrified at what she has done, while Cihan grimaces in pain. Panicked, they scramble back into the car, and Alya urges them to drive straight to the hospital. But instead of heading to the hospital, they are driving straight back to the Albora mansion, much to Alya's surprise. Seeing Cihan wounded, Sadakat slaps Alya across the face in a burst of rage, leaving her stunned. Despite the anger, Cihan needs immediate attention, and the family scrambles to reach their doctor by phone. Alya asks to speak with the doctor directly, but Sadakat orders her to leave. Refusing to back down, Alya grabs the phone from Kaya and begins reporting Cihan's condition in precise medical terms, catching the attention of everyone in the room. Over the phone, she confirms that she is indeed a doctor, shocking everyone, especially her ruthless mother-in-law. The call is brief, and Alya instructs the household to prepare everything needed for emergency treatment. Kaya insists on getting their doctor, but Sadakat says there is no need, since the doctor is already in the room, referring to Alya. Alya then proceeds to surgically remove the bullet, and during the procedure, she and Cihan share a casual conversation, easing the tension in the room. Once Cihan is stabilized, Alya faces the cold, unyielding Sadakat, who tells her she may leave. But she will not take her son. Sadakat insists they will raise Deniz and teach him to live without his mother. Alya refuses, affirming that she will not leave without her son. In response, Sadakat threatens to involve the police, claiming Alya shot Cihan and warning that CCTV footage shows her and Deniz with the gun. Alya realizes what she has gotten herself into, understanding the dangerous extent of her mother-in-law's ruthlessness and the lengths she will go to get rid of her. As Alya loses contact with Izzet, she begins to suspect the Albora family is involved and demands to be taken to him. Kaya brings her to a field where Izzet kneels frozen in the middle of a hidden landmine, a sight that shakes her deeply. After ensuring he is safe, they drop Alya and Izzet at the hotel where he is staying. There, Alya meets Ozan, Nari's husband, whom Nare has asked to see her. He reveals that he is forbidden from going near Nare and speaks bitterly about the Albora family. Sensing an opportunity, Alya asks the questions that have been haunting her. Ozan tells her that her late husband, Boran, once killed the father of the Baybars, a claim she struggles to believe. Before he can reveal more, Cihan arrives with his cousin Shahin and cuts the conversation short. Alya immediately confronts Cihan and asks if Boran truly killed someone. Cihan simply answers that Boran was forced into that situation and that he did it to protect their family. Alya is visibly shaken and devastated, realizing her late husband had a violent past she never knew about. Alya goes straight to Boran's grave after discovering a despicable truth about him. Cihan, with Shahin close behind, comes after her. Sitting before the grave, Alya struggles to accept that the man she loves may have taken someone's life. Cihan joins her and finally reveals the truth. He explains that the Baybars killed their father after he refused to allow them to smuggle weapons across the border that runs through their land. In revenge, Boran killed Demir's uncle and fled the country soon after. Since then, Demir has been searching for Boran, determined to take revenge. Shaken, Alya asks when all of this happened. Cihan answers that it took place 10 years ago, reminding her that she and Boran have been married for only 7 years. As they return to the Albora mansion, Sadakat is furious to learn that Alya has met with Ozan, Nari's husband. Nare quickly defends Alya, admitting that she was the one who asked Ozan to meet with her while she is in the city. Sadakat pulls Nare aside and scolds her harshly for defying her. Alya notices Nari's distress and shows concern about her situation, but Cihan cuts in and reveals that Nari's husband once raised his hand against her, and Alya finally understands the tension. Sadakat vents her anger, reminding Nare how she once ran away and married against her will, choosing a man she never approved of. She adds that being with Shahin would never have worked either, leaving Nare silent and shaken. It becomes clear that Nare and Shahin were once in love, but are forced apart because of the feud between their families. The same forbidden romance exists between Kaya and Zeren, Shahin's younger sister. Shahin and Zeren are the children of Cihan's uncle, Ejmal, who now sits in jail for smuggling. Zeren tries to bury her feelings and avoid Kaya, yet Kaya continues to seek her out despite the opposition around them. Shahin, on the other hand, can only watch Nare from a distance. And Nare, ever the obedient daughter, forces herself to look away. Overwhelmed by the weight of everything, Nare steps aside to compose herself, but the strain suddenly overcomes her and she collapses. Shahin is close enough to catch her before she hits the ground. Alya rushes to her as Shahin carries her to her room. As Alya checks on her, Nare learns that Alya is an obstetrician-gynecologist, while Alya quickly realizes that Nare is 3 months pregnant. The two women comfort each other, Alya struggling with her family, while Nare endures a troubled marriage. Nare tries to defend her husband, saying he has only hit her once, but Alya firmly reminds her that such violence is never acceptable. In the midst of chaos, the two women begin to form an unexpected bond. Alya receives a call from Izzet, who suggests helping her escape by crossing the border through Syria by road. With Sadakat's threat still echoing in her mind and the mansion heavily guarded, Alya hesitates but decides to take the risk. While Cihan and the Albora men rush to respond to an ambush on their cargo trucks in their transportation business, Nare tells Alya it is the perfect moment to flee. She hands Alya her car keys, and though Alya doesn't want to involve Nare because she worries she will be blamed, Nare insists she will claim the car is stolen. Nare distracts the remaining guards. Alya slips away with Denise and drives off under the broad daylight. At this time, Cihan is still risking his life to save an injured truck driver trapped in the attack. Alya reaches the meeting point and calls Izzet, but as he approaches, Demir suddenly steps out from behind him, stopping her in her tracks in shock. Alya's heart sinks as she realizes Izzet has sold her off. Izzet claims he had no choice, explaining that Demir had threatened him. Denise steps out of the car and calls for his mother, drawing Demir's attention. Alya, holding Demir off, quickly orders Denise back into the car, and the boy immediately obeys. Seizing the moment, she breaks free, racing off with Demir chasing close behind. Panicked and unsure what to do, Alya is surprised when Denise pulls out a phone and calls his uncle Cihan. Denise explains calmly that Cihan taught him to call whenever he needs help. Cihan, having just secured his injured driver, answers the call. Denise reports to Cihan that they are being chased by a man named Demir. Alya interrupts and asks for the phone from him and explains their current situation. Cihan asks for their location, but Alya has no idea where they are. He then reveals the tracking app he installed on Denise's phone and assures her that he's coming to rescue them, his determination clear in every word. Trying to buy time, Alya drives deep into the desert before stopping, as Demir catches up with them. She quickly gets off the car and lets Denise out, instructing him to run as fast as he can. Demir tries to go after Denise and Alya fights to hold him back, refusing to let him reach her son. Demir comes after Denise, but Alya throws herself in his path, fighting with every ounce of strength to keep him from reaching her son. He overpowers her and beats her up, but as he sees Cihan's car approaching, he drags Alya with him and speeds away. Cihan and Kaya find Nare's abandoned car shortly after. They immediately follow the tracked phone and search for the mother and son. They are able to find Denise hiding behind the large bushes, and he tells Cihan that Demir has taken his mother. Cihan sends Kaya to bring Denise home and goes after Demir alone. Inside Demir's car, Alya sits in fear until she spots Cihan driving along a rough road parallel to them, bringing her brief relief. Demir stops at a house and forces Alya to go with him. Not long after, Cihan arrives, jumping out of his car, drawing his gun, and running after them. He storms in, finding Demir holding Alya captive, a gun pressed to her head. Demir orders Cihan to drop his weapon, and he obeys. Cihan pleads for Alya's life, but Demir demands his confession in front of her. Visibly emotional, Demir insists that Cihan reveal the truth, or he will pull the trigger. Cihan explains that he never wanted any of what happened and only wanted to end the cycle of revenge between the families. Demir relentlessly presses him to confess. Cihan, frustrated, admits he once married the daughter of Demir's late uncle in an attempt to end the blood feud. He painfully reveals that after a year of marriage, the woman took her own life. Demir cries out, revealing that he and the woman were in love, and that the house they're in was meant to be theirs. He expresses how it shattered him when she was forced to marry Cihan, and later died. Blaming Cihan for everything, Demir loses control in his grief. In that moment of weakness, Cihan lunges forward, throws a punch to his face, and Alya pulls away. Fueled by rage, Cihan is ready to shoot him, but Alya stops him. For her sake, Cihan lowers his gun and lets Demir live. As they return to the Albora mansion, Alya gets reunited with Deniz. However, Sadakat cuts the emotional reunion as she meets Alya with her usual cold and distant gaze. The iron-fisted matriarch demands that Alya leave after her second attempt to take Deniz away. She declares that she no longer wants her under their roof. Cihan steps in and reminds his mother that he had just barely rescued Alya from Demir. Sadakat replies that as long as Alya remains in the mansion, she will keep trying to take Deniz again and again. Sadakat argues that Alya is a widow and cannot stay among the men of the household. Cihan pleads with his mother, insisting that Alya has nowhere else to go. Sadakat remains firm and repeats that a widow cannot live under the same roof with them. Then she offers a single condition that changes everything. Alya must marry Cihan. The words strike both Alya and Cihan with disbelief. Alya laughs at the absurdity, reminding them that Boran has been buried for only 7 days. But Sadakat is not joking and refuses to bend. Either Alya marries Cihan, or she walks away without Deniz. The ultimatum shatters Alya, and she finally breaks down. Cihan openly rejects the idea, unwilling to enter another forced marriage. He tries to defend Alya, believing she is innocent and unaware of who his late brother truly is. He has already suffered one unwanted union and does not intend to repeat that mistake. He is secretly involved with Mine, a woman his mother strongly opposes, and because of that opposition, he does not even consider marrying her. But the Albora matriarch does not waver. Upon knowing that Alya is throwing a fit, Cihan attempts to calm her. But as soon as he walks into the room, she mockingly greets him as her groom, her voice dripping with anger and disbelief. Cihan tells her he has no intention of marrying her and suggests she return to Canada instead. She lashes out, confessing how deeply she hates him and his entire family. She painfully explains that Deniz is just a small boy and that her son needs her around. Yet Cihan still urges her to leave without Deniz. His words only deepen her agony, because leaving without her son is never an option. The next day, Alya returns to the mansion with Cihan's group after bringing the pregnant Nare to the hospital, where she nearly lost her child following a heated clash between Ozkan and her family that pushed Shahin to lose control. As soon as Alya steps inside, she is met by her ruthless mother-in-law, who has her trolley packed and waiting. Sadakat boldly tells her to leave. Alya refuses, insisting she will not go without Deniz. Alya stands her ground and says that even if she is not allowed inside the mansion, she will not leave their land without her son. But the innocent boy hesitates and says he does not want to leave, believing they will be in danger again if they do, and his words break Alya's heart. With no choice left, she is forced out of the mansion while Cihan stands by, able to do little as mother and son are painfully separated. Cihan believes the only way to protect Deniz is to keep him within the family, and he would rather Alya return to Canada alone than risk the child's safety, a decision that satisfies Sadakat. Left on her own, Alya discovers her bank cards are declined and she cannot withdraw any money. Cihan secretly arranges to cover her hotel expenses, but she refuses to accept anything from the Alboras. Instead, she finds another way and manages to check herself into a hotel. Determined to get her son back, Alya turns to the Canadian embassy for help, only to be told she must first report the case to the local authorities. Meanwhile, Deniz begins to feel his mother's absence and starts asking for her, which deeply troubles Cihan. Cihan spends time with the boy and gently asks about his mother. He asks about Deniz's grandparents in Canada and whether they have any relatives in Turkey. Deniz explains that he once has a grandmother who did not give birth to his mom, but she fell ill and passed away, and he does not know of any other family in Turkey. Cihan becomes increasingly concerned and sympathetic toward Alya, boldly tells his mother that he will allow them to fly back to Canada and send his men to ensure their protection. Sadakat, unsurprisingly, strongly objects to the idea. After selling Alya out to Demir, Cihan goes after Izzet, intent on making him pay. Izzet boldly tells them that he is a Canadian citizen and they cannot touch him, which only makes Cihan laugh. Cihan remains determined, but Izzet hints that he possesses something that belongs to Cihan. Izzet confesses that Boran left him a USB flash drive to be given to Cihan if anything ever happened to him. Skeptical, Cihan demands to know if he opened it, and Izzet admits he could not. The disk is password protected. He says the password can only be unlocked by Cihan, and that Boran instructed him to tell Cihan, "Write what is on your heart." Hearing this, Cihan seems to believe Izzet is telling the truth. Without hesitation, he takes the USB and checks it. He pauses for a moment before typing the password, and when he hits enter, he gains access to its content, letting out a bittersweet sigh of relief. The video shows Boran speaking directly to Cihan, explaining that if he is watching it, Boran must already be dead. Boran asks Cihan to carry out his will. Cihan nods in agreement, his eyes filling with tears as he watches his beloved late brother. Boran shares the joyous news of Deniz's birth, showing that he made the video after Alya gave birth. He proudly tells Cihan that he named Deniz in his honor, bringing more tears to Cihan's eyes. Boran admits that he feared nothing until he met Alya, and even more after having their child. He confesses his deepest fear, that when he is gone, they may come after his wife and son. He stresses that Alya and Deniz are his life and breath, that Alya is innocent, and that he has kept the truth from her. Boran pleads with Cihan to protect them at all costs. Cihan listens intently, moved by his brother's words. Then Boran drops the bomb. He asks Cihan to marry Alya. Cihan drops his head in despair, crying, and repeatedly begs him not to do it to him. Sadakat and Kaya enter the room in shock, clearly overhearing Boran's final wish. Cihan cannot bear the weight of his brother's will and breaks down, crying painfully. With everything unfolding, Alya turns to Ozkan for help, and he brings in Bahadir, a lawyer, to work on her case. She admits that she cannot officially file a complaint against the Alboras after shooting Cihan. Still, she decides to take her chance, believing the family would not want any noise or to tarnish their reputation by putting their daughter-in-law in jail. She also trusts that Cihan would not file a complaint against her, thinking he is not that kind of man. Ozkan warns her that Cihan is ruthless and fully capable of doing it. Alya remains persistent. Bahadir goes on to her that his fee is quite high, but with Boran's inheritance, he implies she and her son are wealthy enough to afford it. However, she firmly refuses to accept or use anything from the Alboras. She explains that she cannot pay Bahadir immediately, offering to settle the payment later. Ozkan deliberately arranged the meeting near the police station to prevent Cihan from interfering due to his travel ban. Despite the warning, Cihan, having Alya tailed by his men, arrives after receiving a report, ignoring the instructions not to come. He storms in and pulls Alya away from Ozkan and Bahadir. As they argue in the middle of the road, Alya nearly gets hit by a passing car, but Cihan reacts quickly and pulls her to safety. The commotion seems to have caught the attention of the police patrols. As they approach, Alya immediately tells Cihan to step back before the police see him. His men quickly pull him away, and he takes cover behind the open door of his car, watching over her from a distance. The police stop to check on Alya, and upon identifying her, they demand that she come with them to the precinct. Confused, she asks why, and they inform her that someone has filed a complaint against her. When she asks for more details, they reveal that Sadiqat lodged a complaint for the shooting of Cihan Albora. Alya turns to Cihan, staring at him in complete disbelief. Cihan, too, appears surprised by the news. Cihan, accompanied by the family lawyer Errol, arrives at the police station as he is summoned to testify against Alya for the shooting incident. He watches her in jail through the CCTV monitor. As Cihan is being interviewed by a police officer, Bahadir checks on Alya and delivers the shocking news that Cihan has turned against her, testifying that she did indeed shoot him. He warns her that Cihan, being an Albora, is ruthless, which only frustrates Alya more. Cihan then enters with Errol, pulling Bahadir aside to end their conversation. Alya vents her frustration, insisting it was all an accident. Cihan remains calm, showing little concern, which only angers her more. In her frustration, Alya threatens that she might actually shoot him for real. Cihan reassures her that he has not yet given his testimony to the prosecutor and that there is still a day to decide. Alya listens closely as he explains that he could testify it was an accident, but under one condition. She lets out a heavy sigh as if saying not again, and demands to know the condition. Cihan asks her to marry him, shocking her to the core. Alya can hardly believe it and asks if he is joking. He firmly tells her he is not joking at all. She is in complete disbelief, questioning how he could even ask such a thing. Her anger and hatred flare, calling him despicable, a scoundrel, and a tyrant. Alya starts to crash out in fury, crying out that if he feels no shame for her, he should at least be ashamed in honor of Boran. Cihan attempts to explain further, but Alya continues, fueled by intense anger. She threatens that if he tries to implicate her, she would rather stay in jail and insists she will never marry him. Alya realizes that flying to Mardin with her son was a huge mistake. She is trapped between the feud of two powerful families. Now, she faces not only losing her son, but also losing her freedom. To keep both, she must make the impossible decision: to become her late husband's brother's wife. She is at the mercy of Cihan and the Albora family. Cihan, on the other hand, does not want tragic history to repeat itself, marrying another man's woman against her will. His duty to his family has always come first, even at the cost of taking an innocent woman and sacrificing the only woman he has ever loved. Once again, his family comes first. He will do whatever it takes to fulfill his late brother's final will. Cihan will make Alya his wife at all costs. This is the story of a widow betrayed by her own husband, and a mother whose love knows no bounds, willing to face every obstacle and go to the ends of the earth to be with her son. It is also the story of a brother and a son who has always placed his family above all else. Their unimaginable sacrifices will draw them together, forming a bond unlike any other. She will find refuge in him, and he will discover a warmth and comfort in her that he has never experienced. And long before either of them fully understands, an irresistible tension binds them. Forbidden desire and longing rise like a fire they cannot fully tame. Yet they fight fiercely against the feelings threatening to consume them. With Season 2 coming to an end, the series has reportedly been renewed for a third season. Uzak Sehir has been breaking TV ratings episode after episode, running far ahead of its competitors. Throughout its run, the show has consistently held the top spot as the most-watched Turkish series of the week. Much of its success comes not only from its intensely dramatic storyline and multiple intertwining love stories, but also from the magnetic presence of its lead couple, Cihan and Alya. Their electric and undeniable on-screen chemistry has drawn widespread praise from viewers and critics alike. Subscribe for more recommended Turkish drama series.